Yes, it's getting to be October, which means Halloween's just around the corner. And that is somewhat the reason why I'm posting this. I wanted to talk about something that's been released recently that is kind of earth-shattering, at least on the internet, on YouTube at least, because it's the continuation of a famous series that has been started several years ago and took quite a lot of time for people to figure out. And when it was finally figured out, it was declared to be one of the most disturbingly effective internet horror series ever made. I'm talking, of course, about the original Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. And yes, the TV show version of it has been released now. And I wanted to talk a little bit about it, not proposing any theories or trying to interpret it or do a reaction video or anything like that. I just want to talk about a few things that I noticed about it. And this is primarily why a lot of you are going to watch the video, and I'm going to see my viewership fall after I'm done talking about this, and the rest of my video is going to remain unwatched. Too bad. Okay, so two things that I wanted to talk about. And this is going to seem awfully academic to you, but when you start to think about what it is that I'm talking about, you're going to say, oh no, yeah, that. Back in the 1700s, John Keats described something he called negative capability. I'm going to put a screenshot of the Wikipedia entry on it here, and probably put a link in the description for negative capability, because it's a very serious and important thing. I call it literally pretending to not know what you're talking about. And I think that that's the cornerstone of what the creators of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared are trying to show off how it fucks things up. Pardon me for my language. I know all in advance this is going to be a sponsor-unfriendly video, but I'm still going to get ads on it, even though I'm not in the partner program and not getting any revenue. But I think that this was at the corner of what they were trying to comment on their assessment of children's programming. That the shows seem to always be pretending to not know what they're talking about so that they can explain concepts, elevated notions, abstract notions to children without relying on the adult perspectives of, well, we already understand this. We know that there are technical terms for this, so we'll use those terms and just say that's what it is. But when you're dealing with a child who doesn't understand these things yet and you're trying to explain it, you have to use negative capability. Reach down to their vocabulary level where they don't have these technical terms yet. And I think they saw very early that sometimes this effort kind of muddles things up or makes things confusing and messy precisely because of the attempt to explain them. And I think that's really revealed quite extensively in the new TV series. The attempt to make an entire episode out of something that should only take 5 or 10 minutes. You remember the original web series, each episode was only like 5 to 10 minutes long. So they were very short. They didn't need a lot of time to get their point across. So they didn't have to fill a lot of space. But when you're doing a TV show, you have to fill a lot of space, except for commercial breaks, so your episode needs to be like 22, 23 minutes long. So when you do something that it only takes 5 minutes to get across, you have to figure out what to do with the other 15 minutes. Or 18 minutes, depending on how much more space you've got. You've got to pad your content. And I think that's what they showed off in the new TV series, was the fact that doing that tends to make things messy, weird, and confusing, and sometimes misleading. So the understanding of negative capability when you're watching the TV series is very important, because you see, it's not that Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared was failing in that. It was they were showing how the shows that those creators grew up with had failed them by failing at. Excuse me. Sorry, the temperatures have been dropping here lately, and it's really messing with my asthma. My allergies, so my throat is actually very raw. But we're going to be solving that later in this episode. So yeah, the negative capability is very important. Another thing that I wanted to point out was Red Guy is constantly, and I have to make a distinction here between the original web series and the new TV series, which is probably eventually going to be called TV Series Season 1, because they're probably going to get another season later. But, so, in the original web series, at least once, I think in a Time episode, when the clock character shows up to start singing, Red Guy looks around and says, "Wait, who is that?" Later in the computer episode, Red Guy keeps looking back at the laptop or the globe, expecting it to sing, and nothing happens. And then finally, the computer guy takes over, and Red Guy finally just accepts, I guess he's the star of the show, or the guest. So he does that twice in the original web series, at least twice. It's been a while since I've watched it, so I don't remember it entirely, but I do remember him freaking out when Clock showed up, and again, the foible with the computer, laptop, and globe, when the other guy was taking over the episode. So, I noticed that they did that quite a bit more in the new TV series, that Red Guy was constantly looking around, being surprised by the content of the show, or at least being surprised by the delivery of it. And this is really exemplified in the fact that a lot of the TV shows were often one-take events. They didn't do a lot of rehearsals. They would just say, we need to get this person on the show. Oh, look, he's here in the studio. Let's go ahead and do it. And they'd shoot the show. And so the regulars on the set didn't know what the guest was going to say, so occasionally there were moments of surprise. Oh wait, what was that? What did you just say? Or who is this? Who are we talking to? You know, looking around to the producers to say, what am I supposed to say here? What's my line? And that happening on live television, or if not on live television, at least on the one-take recording of the broadcast. And I think the Pellings were very dismissive of that reality in their shows. And so they showed it. Also, I noticed that Transport is very ill-suited to his role. And this was something that I think that the Pellings really wanted to show off their misgivings about, that the Transport character was old and decrepit, probably an alcoholic, drinking on TV, drinking medications that he shouldn't be taking during work, or at least things that shouldn't be shared, around children who don't understand that, and being somewhat inept, and basically dying on the show, in the middle of his song. And Red Guy has to, unfortunately and tragically, just pretend like it's nothing and just go on with the show. We'll deal with the fact that he died on camera, off-set. Because sometimes, unfortunately, that's what you have to do. And that's really horrible to expect to see happening on a children's television show, and I think that's one of the things that they were wanting to point out. So, those are my big points right now for Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Those 3 points. Negative capability, unplanned performances, and one-take performances that don't pan out very well. So yeah, it's a big deal. It really is. Go ahead and watch the series. I've got a list here of the episodes and what they contain. I do remember, because I watched the new series once real quickly. I haven't watched it often enough to really get it under my skin yet. I really enjoyed it. It was both wonderfully horrible and wonderfully funny in a dark way. The dark humor in me just really appeals to me, the way they handle certain things. But fair warning, episode 6 really takes a left turn, as always. The one thing that I think in terms of this kind of greatness, that I think the creators of the show really kind of broke new ground with their original web series and actually created something new and totally different. And when they went to go to a TV show, I think what they did, and dare I say it, it does sound like a critical thing to say, but it's not. I think what they tried to do is basically just recreate what they did before. If it worked before, it'll work again. More of the same, except with different content. And they did not disappoint, though, even though it's totally new format, because they had to expand their presentation. So they can't have done entirely more of the same, but they are somewhat repeating some of the same themes and presentations. But I was entirely not disappointed, and the dark humor in it was just over the top, totally wonderful and enjoyable. The horror was very different in some episodes. Really, they did try to do some of the episodes they tried to tackle tropes that we've seen in horror films, and they handled them extremely well in a new and different and inventive way that I found very refreshing. But they just didn't disappoint in their content. They kept it full and dense with jokes, creepy moments, informative content, disinformative content that you know not to take seriously. So yeah, go ahead and watch this series. It's wonderful. But that is all I need to say about that, because I don't want to get into it too much, because I haven't watched it often enough to really form an intelligent response yet. I wanted to also show off, I finally found the great old matcha Kit Kats. But the thing I needed to show off to you right now is, ooh, look, a new flavor. Salt lemon. Let's see how these are going. I think they're trying to get on the salted caramel bandwagon. But I think, you know, salting a citrus fruit is hopefully different. The packaging is pretty. Nice white little packages with the lemon, the blue stripes on the side. So being salt lemon, I expect it to have salt and lemon juice. So I expect it to be very bright and citrusy. Lovely color. Pale yellowish, though I expected it to be brighter yellow, but yeah, it's kind of a pale yellow. Let's take that infamous, I can already smell it. Oh, it's got that lemon curd smell. And as expected, the flavor is not hitting me right away. Yeah, it's got that lemon curd flavor. That wonderful lemon curd. I like that. It's not that bright, acidic, citrusy flavor like you would expect. It's that wonderful lemon curd flavor. Mmm. That's tasty. Some of them are yellow. I'm liking it. It's got that lemon curd flavor, not just lemon juice. Not bad. I'm enjoying it. Yes, big win. So, There's the salt. Yeah, there's the salt in it too. I'm enjoying it. Some of them are solid blue too. So yeah, different packaging. I'd call this a big win. I am liking these. But yes, if you go to any of your Japanese stores, look for the matcha Kit Kats. Buy them up to make sure that they know these are desired. And don't forget to go to the bookstore. Just kidding. This is not in bookstores. You have to go to the publisher's website. I am no longer recommending that people go to Amazon because I see so little of the revenue from their Amazon purchases. Go to the publisher's website. Yeah, it takes about a week and a half for the copy to be printed and delivered to you. And their shipping is fairly expensive. Go for ground. Let it take the time. But get these early enough to get them under the Christmas tree for gifts. These will make wonderful gifts for the nerdy members of your family. Because there is a complete novel in it. It's not just a gimmick. So yes, go out and buy Period Study Particle Physics from the Lulu website. I'll put the link in the description. And don't forget to go out and watch Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, the new web series. I have a playlist and it's going to be in the description too. So yes, do that. Are we done? Yes, good. Oh wait, I forgot. David Firth posted this video on Twitter.
Fuck's sake, mate. Fucking bollocks. This is... I shouldn't have to fucking do this shit, mate. I'm the king. What the fuck is this here? Can you just fucking move this out of the way? Fucking hell, mate. Being king is bollocks. I'm fucking done with this shit.
Instead of saying, look what I did.
Fuck's sake, mate. Fucking bollocks. This is... I shouldn't have to fucking do this shit, mate. I'm the king. What the fuck is this here? Can you just fucking move this out of the way? Fucking hell, mate. Being king is bollocks. I'm fucking done with this shit.
It's a deepfake. Don't fall for
sake, mate. Fucking bollocks. This is... I shouldn't have to fucking do this shit, mate. I'm the king. What the fuck is this here? Can you just fucking move this out of the way? Fucking hell, mate. Being king is bollocks. I'm fucking done with this shit.